Hello, all, and welcome back to a new episode of TV and Us, a conversation show about the TV series we just can't stop talking about. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan.
And each season we focus on a different show, reviewing it episode by episode, and we invite you to watch along with us. Right now, we are kicking off a brand new season. I think we just really couldn't help ourselves. After doing Sopranos season 1, we are back this season for TVNS with season 2 because we love our friends, our crew, and we just have to find out what else they get up to. So today we're talking about episode 1 titled Guy Walks Into a Psychiatrist's Office. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, this is your spoiler alert. Go watch it. Listen to the rest of our conversation. But Sarah, how are you feeling about being back with season 2 of this show?
Oh my gosh, I'm so ready. We had a little break and I was itching to be back with our family, the Soprano family. So yeah, the second that it started and like that intro started playing, I just got so excited. I was like, yes, I'm ready for this adventure. I'm ready to be back. Let's see what season 2 has in store for us.
Yeah. And there's, as we've mentioned, I think in nearly every looking ahead section in our season 1 episodes, there's so much story to be told. Like it almost feels like the end of season 1, we were just getting started. So lots of drama to ensue, and we will dive in. So what is the IMDb summary or episode summary for this first episode?
Sure. Tony Soprano navigates a reshuffled North Jersey hierarchy, mounting FBI attention and rising tension at home, testing his grip on both family and business.
I feel like that's the summary for the show all up.
Yes,
as well.
all of them.
It's just like he's constantly figuring out new power structures and also figuring out how to balance family and his career and his ambitions and his own self all at once. So, okay, let's start off with our episode titles for this first one. Sarah, what is yours?
My title is Just Like That.
Yep. We're back just like that. Lots of things happen. My gosh. Can't wait to talk about it, but great job. My episode title is Puerto Rico.
Yes, which is a very pivotal part of this episode. Kind of important.
Yeah. Some things to figure out, I think. It's unresolved.
Yep.
I'm feeling restless and paranoid as well. So let's dive in and talk about one, I think how this season chooses to start, where it picks up from, the way that it throws us back into this world again, and some of the things that happen in this episode. But honestly, I want to start with this opening slow montage cut together where we truly go and see every character in some moment that is very them, and I think is perhaps also cluing us into the journey that they're going to go on over the course of this season. So tell me your thoughts about because between TV seasons, they can pick up anywhere. Theoretically, they can jump forward in time. They can pick up seconds after the previous season ended. So thoughts on how this season strategically chooses to open?
Yeah, it's so funny kind of going back and watching a show like The Sopranos that is now decades old. I feel old. And when I clicked into the episode, I expected a season recap because now that's what we're used to in like the streaming age, and we don't get that. And so I thought that this montage was a really, really brilliant way to get us to remember where all of these characters left off and reminding us who they are, kind of what makes them tick, how they kind of move about the world. Because this was on regular TV. So there was a whole long break. We only got a few weeks between seasons 1 and 2, but people who were watching it in real time, they had months and months between seasons 1 and 2. And so I just thought that was a really smart way to remind us, because even though season one is very memorable, you've lived life between seasons one and two. And so I thought it was a really smart way to meet the audience where they're at, and remind us of who they are, and kind of like ease us back into this world after we've been gone for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and does it in a very efficient way as well. We get to see the capos just palling around town, doing their shenanigans. We get to see Christopher starting a new venture as well. What I also loved about the choice to do this opening kind of slow montage is that one, we get to remember that there's so many characters in the show and no one is forgotten. We get to see a moment where young Anthony is looking at himself in the mirror and kind of wondering who he is, and with his fresh cut, and there's so much growth and potential of his self actualization. Every character is not forgotten and is a continuation of their plot lines from the previous season. So I loved that because I think that's what makes The Sopranos so interesting, is that there's such a kaleidoscope of all of these different personalities, and they will collide with each other, I'm sure, over the course of the season. The second thing that I loved is how slow the camera is moving from moment to moment. It almost felt like this intoxicating swirling back into this world of The Sopranos and the both public facing and underbellies of this organized crime family, society. And it reminds me a little bit of that scene in Goodfellas where Scorsese, when you're entering in the Copacabana, you kind of feel like you're being lured into this other world and intoxicatingly getting sucked into it. And the slow fades between the moments and the slow camera coming in and out of that montage and how it's cut together, I thought was just really cool. I must have felt like smoke billowing out, and I'm just following it back into the world of this New Jersey family. And I thought that was really effective as well. It's like, oh, yes, take me along into the depths of this world again. So I loved that choice.
You're right. It does feel really intoxicating and alluring, like, come with me, come back into The Sopranos. And we're like, yes, we are there. We are coming along for this ride. So, yeah, I think that that's a really, really great point about just the way that this is able to like lure us back in, and we're happy to be brought along for the ride.
Yeah, yeah. This slow oozing back into this world. It's like beckoning you. And honestly, we don't need that much convincing, okay? Like we will gladly jump back in fully. So there's other big plot points and moments that happen in this season that really pick up on and continue to build from the open threads of the previous season. What is one of those that really stands out to you? That felt satisfying to see revisited again, or leaves you with lots of hopeful anticipation for where that storyline will go.
I mean, we got to talk about Salvatore because he is back. And I even love how that reveal is. Tony walking down his driveway to get the paper. He is in such a like vulnerable state. He's in his PJs and robe and no shoes. And then he sees this car and starts like understandably being nervous about what is about to happen to me with this strange car that I don't know that's parked out front of my
Yeah.
my house. And so I love the way that that is all how that sequence goes down, because it's just like,
Hmm.
oh, it's just Tony living his life, and then you remember the danger that he's in, and then of course it's Salvatore that comes out, and you're like, oh, relief, but also, huh? What
Hmm.
what's going on here? We haven't seen you in a very long time. We don't trust you now. What's going on? So I loved that reveal and how it just takes you on this whole roller coaster of emotions in just, a couple of seconds. And then of course them needing to decide, are we going to trust him again, are we going to
Yeah.
welcome him back into the fold, or is he not to be trusted? And so I think that that's a brilliant way to start this season, and I'm really excited to see where that arc goes over the entire course of the season.
Yes, yes. It's such a callback to season 1's, I mean, the opening of the show too, of Tony in a vulnerable state in his own home, his own world, on his property, freshly woken up in the morning with, like, morning breath and boxers on, barefoot in a robe. Like, nothing about he is not looking very cool at all. He's not looking like Don Corleone's opening sequence where he gets to be like lounged in this beautiful room, taking in the potential clients and opportunities. Tony's not looking cool, and I think that is so humanizing for him. Uh, but also, what's great about the interactions that he has with Salvatore is that he is vulnerable by not knowing if he can trust Salvatore again or not. It's a weak point in his current regime, in his current team, that he doesn't know what to do with it. And I really love the way that the show plays with our emotions back and forth in whether we can or we can't. Do we believe that they're really embracing or not? I love that basement scene where they embrace, but it's actually Tony patting him down. And then they do seemingly genuinely embrace again. They do the whole thing again, like, ah, okay, here's now your real hug. But a few scenes later, we also see Tony on the phone with someone who's looking into validating the Puerto Rico story. And I think that's a really neat way to showcase how everything that seems to be on the surface may not always be how it is. They seem to have reconciled, big bear hug. But in the background, there's so many suspicions that Tony's still needing to be keeping a watchful eye on. And even later on in the barbecue, family barbecue sequence, the way that Tony looks at Salvatore, the way Salvatore looks back at Tony, I'm like, oh, let's gear up for some drama that's about to happen with those two. There feels like so much waiting to be burst forth in that story arc.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what I really appreciated about that part of this episode is we do see, movement, and it appears as though Salvatore is welcomed back. He's hanging out with the whole crew again. So on its face, it seems like normal and back to what we were doing in season 1. But we know, because of those subtleties, because of the looks and the glances, that everything is not okay, and that
Mhm.
trust has been broken down, and we don't know what's going to happen there. So I love that it's calling back to season 1, but everything is different and setting up a really hopefully interesting journey for us to go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and creates vulnerabilities for Tony to spiral about, which I think is helpful. We're going to get to see that character get pressed again and again and again, especially with someone who values, as we've seen through season 1, loyalty so much. That is going to cut deep for whatever happens there, or how will his paranoia maybe alienate someone who was loyal to him. I think that that confrontation scene in the basement did a really great job of showcasing how, yes, obviously we're on Tony's side and we're like, do we trust Salvatore or not? But also for Salvatore, he expressed his emotional frustration with not being trusted, and feeling like, all those years that I worked for you, like that didn't mean anything, and just this one storyline with my back and being away, like you man, you doubted me so quickly, like, oh, that cuts deep too. So we can kind of empathize quite deeply with Salvatore and his frustration, and how will that push him to find new alliances or choose to overcome them and stay loyal to Tony, who's taken care of him all of these years. So I don't know. Salvatore's hanging in the balance, and honestly, we can kind of understand why he might be exploring and having a little bit of a wandering eye. Sucks to not be trusted, and it sucks to not be able to trust.
So I think the other piece of this storyline that is really important is that Tony's support structures that we saw in season one aren't there anymore. Namely, Dr. Melfi, who
Oh,
is now
God.
forced to uh, do her practice very differently uh, from a motel. It's just
It's not
yikes.
good. It's
Ooh,
not a good
not
look.
good.
Just
Poor
men
thing.
coming in and out of her room at a
Right?
motel.
Oh, what a rough
Oh.
time. But I love that Tony is he understands that he needs that support and he's trying to find it in her again, and then she's just like, "No, get away from me. Get out of here." And so
Mhm.
I think that's really nice to see from Dr. Melby's perspective because I was nervous about her the entire season 1. I'm still nervous for her because she's obviously in this show, but it's also smart from, a writing perspective for Tony because what is he going to do now when he
Mhm.
seemingly can't find another therapist? She won't take him on. And other places that could be supportive, like, family, his wife, there is such a disconnect there. And I loved that
Yeah.
final scene when Tony and Carmela are just kind of moving independently around each other, mostly in silence in this big house. And there's just this like gulf between them that you can feel. And so I think all of these things are working really well together to show us that even though Tony is, he's the boss, he's leading this crew, he's doing well in business, he's innovating, doing all of these things, he is still in a very vulnerable position because he
Mhm.
doesn't have the support that he needs. And again, that's going to be a really interesting thing for us to explore for the rest of the season.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really smart for the show to have Dr. Melfi be away or disconnected from Tony for a period of time so that there's all this story and plot for us to wonder about how are they potentially inevitably going to be back connected together again. But it's like we can wonder and see how Tony is without her, how she is without him, and how they will find their ways back to each other. It's like a it's like this um, romantic plot lines in so many shows where these two characters are going to get together at the end. They almost do, or they kind of do, and then life throws a wrench into it. And in a lot of ways, so far, Dr. Melfi and Tony's storyline honestly resembles a lot of that push pull of romantic storylines that we see in especially TV because there are these long, long arcs that they can tell, and the writers know that we as the audience are waiting to see them finally be back so that they can be their best selves with each other again. And so it's smart for the show to not immediately jump back into things are good. Dr. Melfi's coming back. Tony's got his support system, like you were saying, because we're going to see him spiral and flail and crash his car and lash out at people and get paranoid for a period of time.
Yep, absolutely. And I love those little moments where, he crashes the car, he's disassociating
Yeah.
during the barbecue, and we know that Tony is not okay. And I love those little tiny reminders that, like, oh no, he's not in a good place. And it's probably just going to keep escalating if he keeps going this way. And the fact that Tony now recognizes that, but he doesn't know how to solve the problem. He
Hmm.
doesn't have the resources that he needs to solve the problem. I think is an interesting complicating factor that he didn't necessarily have in season 1 because he was just like I have this problem and make it go away. But now he's learned some things, he's learned some of his triggers and some of the warning signs, but he doesn't know what to do about it. So
Yeah.
I think that is also going to be interesting now that he has a little bit more self awareness than he did in season 1.
We've made progress with this character from the beginning of season one, where he was in denial that it even needed to be there. Okay, he now is like, I need to find help. No one's willing to help him because no one obviously wants to help a mafia head. But that is progress, which I think is satisfying for us to see as the viewer too. Is like we are not once again back where Tony is spiraling and denying help. No, he wants it, but now his new problem is he can't get it. And so that feels like forward momentum. It feels like progress, but still lots of drama to be had, which is what we are also here for. So the show's ability to hold those things and write them into the story at the same time is quite genius. So yeah, also great.
Yeah,
Shall we
the
talk about Livia?
yes, we need to talk about Livia. What do you think about our girl?
Well, I thought it was smart for the show to like tease us with her a little bit and not give us too much of her. We get a crumb. Obviously, a lot happened with Livia, but she's only in like one, maybe two. I only remember one big scene with her, which is her manipulating Meadow. So she's not in this episode for very long, but when she is back on her game. She's back on her mission. A near death experience did not phase her plans at all. And I think the show has given us a dose of her to satisfy us because obviously we were wondering a lot of what's happening with her. But there's also not enough there to really know. And so it's making me really excited to see more of what's happening with her. I think the other, maybe I'm thinking about two moments because Livia's not actually in this scene, but it's when Carmela's mother, which an insightful reveal, is talking to Carmela and shares about how Livia was an absolute menace at their wedding and planted all of these seeds around and honestly like preying on Carmela's insecurities to create tension between her and Tony by saying he's going to get bored of you. He's not going to be with you that long. It's never going to work. So her presence is felt without her actually being in the episode a ton, which I think is really great. Wetting of our palettes, forward momentum into the next episode where, my gosh, what is she going to do next?
Yeah, I love that she is so present in this episode because you also hear Tony and his sister talking about her a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's also that
it's
like
true.
uh she's almost like a Voldemort, like he who must not be named, like or like the shark in Jaws, like people are always like talking about her, but you don't like see her very often. And so she just feels like this larger than life presence and this kind of malevolent force, of course, for Tony. And so I think that that was a really effective choice in this episode to have people talking about her, and you can feel
Mm,
kind of the effect that she's had, not just on Tony, but on everybody. And so those moments when you do see her and she's in this vulnerable state and yet still manipulating
so
Meadow, it's like, oh yeah, no, you are just a menace. You are terrorizing this family, which is highly entertaining. I'm always here for a good Livia scene, but you feel the toll that she has taken on Tony and everybody.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's shocking to see, but perhaps I shouldn't be so surprised that she's not just willing to manipulate the adults around her, but also the children. I don't know. I think there's something about that scene that felt so menacing because Meadow is so young and she's using Meadow's love for her grandmother, who she saw almost die, and use that to win favor to inch her way back to whatever position she needs to scheme. That's pretty low. You know what I mean? And I think that's quite terrifying to see these new layers of what Livia's capable of. I think I didn't I could I'm not surprised, I suppose, but I think it's shocking to still see how much she's willing to do to get what she wants. And I think there's something that's also just really exciting and thrilling for us as viewers to watch someone manipulate where because we get to be in the know while everyone else is not in the know in the world around them. And I don't know. We as viewers like to be in the know, we as humans like to be in the know and to almost feel like we have inside information on her intentions and we are more informed and get to wait to see everybody else find out a little bit later. There's something that's juicy and exciting and satisfying for us as viewers, I think, to watch that. That's the case for so much of television and movies, is getting to see this character and waiting to see when they will be found out, even though we knew all along. And so I think that's probably why all of the Olivia scenes are so thrilling and so juicy for us to watch. And she's unknown to us as well, and unpredictable to us. So there's the additional thrill of what will she do next, and what is she scheming? How is Meadow useful to her in some way to win favor back into the good graces of this family again?
Well, and we've already seen that Meadow is a daddy's girl. So, like, I think that's also really smart. I mean, Livia just manipulators know how to manipulate. They know how to track people and like spot those weaknesses. And so I think that Meadow is so strategic because man, she's got her dad just like wrapped around her finger. So I'm so excited to see what happens with Livia. And I'm especially excited now that we have the new addition of Tony's sister in the mix as well, who seems to be an absolute agent of chaos and also really manipulative. And so I think that this like Janice, Tony, Livia business is going to be so fascinating to watch what happens.
And honestly, so satisfying and funny seeing how much Janice gets under Tony's skin too. It's hard. We love to see our characters unwell. Like I just find it really entertaining watching Tony like go off the rails a little bit and freak out. And Janice does a great job pushing his buttons. So I think there's a lot of good chaos there. And you're right, that triangular relationship between the three of them and who's loyal to who's looking out for who cares more about who, and how all those family dynamic sensitivities be triggered as new players are added to the mix will be really interesting. And I think this is why perhaps The Sopranos is so satisfying for viewers and has gained so much traction, is because those same family dynamics are true of every family. The sensitivities, you love them more than me. You take better care of mom more than me. Gosh, that is so true to life, and it's so relatable. And The Sopranos has been able to capture those sensitive family dynamics and almost the delicacy of all the interconnectedness that might topple over at any moment if someone pushes the wrong button, and has been able to write it into these stories. And so everything with Janice felt familiar, very familiar.
Oh, absolutely. The family member that randomly shows up asking for money. It's like, yep. Everyone has at least one of those in their family.
Yep.
It's so true to life. But then also seeing Tony's response too, and how he's trying to hold it together, he's trying to keep it locked down, and then just one thing goes
Yeah.
wrong and it all erupts. And
Yeah.
I loved that moment with him and Carmela at the barbecue when it all really comes to a head and he's so angry and
Yeah.
he's ready to just like burst. He's so upset and Carmela is trying to like help him and manage him and then like throws him back out into the barbecue. Like, go have fun, go be with your friends, don't be angry anymore. But I'm just curious to see how Tony is going to erupt with his sister, because
Yeah.
I think that that was a really great way to prime something that is going to be paid off in a future episode. So I'm very much here for it.
Yeah, yeah. Valiant efforts from Carmela to try and keep this man stable somehow. I I'm so curious time and time again to see what the show's going to do with Carmela. In this episode specifically, you can see that she's really trying. You can feel that her care and her love for Tony is so genuine, and so unappreciated. She's the one that is willing to tell him, like, hey, you've been different. Like, where are those meds? She's trying to get him to a better place. She just wants what's good for him and is so lonely all of the time because he's gone and he's got his side gals. And she's just left here being like, I gave so much to this family. Like, what is it all for? And despite all of that, I loved the tension of the ending scene with the pasta and her heating it up for him. She's caring for him in the most practical ways, and yet they are so far from each other. And I honestly, I there was so much tension in that scene. I was kind of waiting for it to burst and for them to get in a heated argument. And the show doesn't give us that. There's no catharsis. It's so funny. It's like all this tension. You're waiting for them to, like, someone makes a comment, the other one freaks out, and nothing happens. The ending credits roll. And I think that's so well done to not have the tension break yet, because a lot of times living life with someone, the tension builds and builds and builds and it will come later. But despite all of her frustrations, she's still trying. She's trying to be there. She's trying to be present. He asks her to sit down. She's going to be there, even though she doesn't want to be. Gonna heat up the pasta, even though she doesn't want to. But she's faithfully serving her duties. And I just feel like it can't last long. Something's going to break at some point. But the show doesn't give us it quite yet because it's episode one. So it's like, come along, watch how this is gonna shit's gonna hit the fan. And when will Carmela have enough? And when will how will her love for Tony also get in the way of that too? Of her being able to advocate for herself too. I really root for her, but she is not doing well.
No, no, she's not. And you just see her kind of running on autopilot of like, this is just what I do,
Yeah,
pick up in the living room, look through the mail. Oh, you're here now. So let me heat you up some pasta. Like, it's so just like rote. This is just what we do every day. This is just the daily routine. It's so mundane. It's
yeah,
so like unfulfilling, probably in a lot of ways. So, like you, we have been, I mean, listen to our whole season one review. I feel like every episode we were like,
yeah.
what is Carmela going to do next? Like, we know that there's so much more to
In
her and
her,
so much more
yeah,
in her. And so I'm hoping that we'll see some of that in this season, because I feel like season one kept like teeing it up for us, and you hear all of like the snide remarks of the other wives and like everything, and so we're just uh we want Carmela to shine. We want her to have her moment in the sun. So maybe it'll come this season, maybe
yeah.
it'll come in the future. We would love to see it.
I want her to scheme. I want her to run
Yes.
this tight ship and just stick it to everybody because she's the underdog. She's the underdog we love,
Hmm.
in any story, honestly. Is like someone who's underappreciated, overlooked, underestimated, and we love to see him come out swinging. So ruined for Carmela, but I don't know. It's a long way to go. And the good thing, there's lots of seasons to watch it
Hmm.
happen.
Very true. Yeah, we're only at the very beginning of season two, so we're still at the beginning of our long journey with the
With this family,
Sopranos.
yeah. Before we give out some TVNOS awards, I guess I wanted to quickly mention, I want to see if there's anything else that we wanted to highlight. Christopher, bright young ambition being channeled into new ventures. He's just always desired power and influence and respect and authority. And he's starting to get it through this new realm, but it feels so shaky and he feels so dissatisfied. So I don't know. Once again, I'm like, how does this show give us so much and yet leave us wanting so much more? I think there's so much stewing in Christopher that's also similar to Carmela in a lot of ways. There's been these teases in season one of like, oh, he's gonna defect and then he doesn't. He's rebelling and then he doesn't. And I think he's trying this new thing and we'll see if it's going to satisfy him. Nothing will satisfy this man, but we're going to see how this is going to go downhill. And I love the moment with him and Tony where Tony tells him, like, you need to control your impulses because we've seen Christopher constantly just on a whim, and these explosions of rage and whatnot in season one. And so I loved the continuation of that storyline. Uh, but also Tony recognizing clearly what will be the downfall of this dude, of this team member on his team that's going to get him in trouble too. So um, fascinating to see more of them too, kind of the mentor mentee, father son uh, relationship that's going to unfold between the two of them as well. So let's teed up with
Mhm.
Christopher.
Oh, there's so much interesting stuff with Christopher in this episode. And I think, to your point of his constant dissatisfaction, like Tony has put him in this position that is like a big deal. Like
Yeah.
this is an important part of their business, an important new venture in their portfolio. And Christopher doesn't seem to know how to handle that. So I love
Yeah.
that, we've seen Christopher in season one kind of part of the crew, more of a like low level enforcer, maybe like that's kind of his role. And then in this one, Tony has given him this like position and status, and yet he is still dissatisfied and still struggling. So
Mm.
that's going to be really interesting. And the other piece with Christopher that I thought was really notable, and maybe I missed it in season one, I might have overlooked something, but now Christopher is doing coke. Like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that, I don't remember him doing that in season one. I may be wrong, but if that is a new a new thing that we're doing, he was already volatile in season
Yeah.
one. I'm not looking forward to seeing
I know.
what chaos he will
Totally.
inflict and will be inflicted upon him now because of his habitual drug use. And we even see that when he's at the bar with his girlfriend, and she calls him out
Yeah.
and is laying all the cards on the table, airing his dirty laundry in front of these other dudes. And we see once again his volatility. But I also just appreciate Adriana, that she is able to. She hits him right back. Like he hits her and she serves it right back up to him. So I'm nervous for her, and I'm nervous for Christopher because of this increasingly intense state that he's in. So I don't think things are going to go well for him in this season, but man, it's going to be entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. It just feel I I just feel it's going to be a tragic tale, and I'm already sad about it. Like, gosh, shows love to just uh have us sit through the downfall of a young, ambitious, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, raw ambition. They love that character to have a tragic ending. And I don't know, Sopranos will always surprise us, so perhaps we'll see. But listen, if it follows the arc of The Godfather, like it's not gonna end well. Like raw talent, ambition, bright, so intelligent, so sharp, and they'll get their heads gonna get too big for what they can handle, and no one can help them. Like he's pushing people away. He's not listening to anyone. He's pushing Adriana away, the person that honestly cares about him the most, knows him the most, and he's just self-destructing. So we tale as old as time, human hubris being
Mm-hmm.
the cause of our downfall. We
It's true.
kind of
It's
love to
true.
see it. It just takes different flavors, and poor Christopher in advance. But
Yeah.
maybe we'll get a few glory days with him. I don't know. It feels like an ending that is doomed for this character.
Well, we'll see. We are invested in Christopher though, no matter what happens, because there's something endearing about him, even though he is this like
Yeah.
agent of chaos, just stubborn kid who doesn't seem to learn anything. So we're rooting for him, even though he seems to be not on a good track at this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let my Pollyanna run a little bit and say we also love redemptive arcs in storytelling. So I think this will be really interesting, though, to see where The Sopranos ends. We've always talked about this with shows that truly end Succession, an incredible example of this, but where characters end, the ending of the show is so telling for the thesis of what the show believes in. It can take them on a whole journey, up, down, left, right, but where do they ultimately fall, and what were the costs and the gains and the wisdom and the relationships along the way? That is the thesis of what the show believes about the world. It believes about people, believes about human nature. So maybe Christopher will have a doomed downfall, a slight redemptive ending with some costs along the way, and I don't know, maybe he'll do a mix, maybe he'll do one or the other.
Mhm.
But
The good news
Succession was
is,
basically like,
yeah.
humans suck, we will
Yeah.
self-destruct, and we will be lonely and empty at the end of it.
Yep. That is a good summation of Succession. So we'll see what The Sopranos does, because
Yeah.
we are only at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
So we have a lot more show to get through. So we'll see. There's a lot of room
Mhm.
for Christopher to go on a whole journey. He can go on multiple journeys with how
Yes,
many seasons we have left. So
exactly.
hopefully we get a full, lovely arc with
Mhm.
Christopher.
hmm And so far, The Sopranos has shown to have kind of a softer, squishier heart than you expect it to. Honestly, the Succession is quite cynical and throughout the whole show. But one of the moments that we see in the opening montage where we're reintroduced to these characters again is Tony teaching Meadow how to drive. Like he's his family man. There's these sentimental uh, threads in the show that are very front and center, and so it's kind of got a mixed bag with the show, which leaves us guessing. Okay, any other last things that you wanted to mention before we give out some TVNS awards?
Nope, I think we covered it all.
We're so back, baby.
We are
We're
so
so back.
back. Yes.
Okay, TVNS awards. So, if you are new to TVNS, this is a segment in our show where at the end of every episode review that we cover, we give out some fake awards because we can. And we often have a few. For this season, we have three. The first one is most family oriented. This is given to a character of our choice for whatever reason we decide to choose and however we decide to interpret. So, this is the joy and excitement of fake awards, is you can do whatever you want. Second category is most explosive moment. I think pretty self-explanatory with this show. The third is double meaning dialogue. Everyone is not saying what they think. So what's the juicy one that we wanted to highlight? And then we will kind of share our awards week to week. So the first one, Sarah, is most family oriented. What is your choice for this one?
I want to give it to Carmela for sending Tony back to the barbecue instead of going out to murder his sister.
Very good. Very good. She literally was like, she's a tiny woman, just like
Yes.
pushing his large body to the back door, not the front door.
Yes.
Come on, just like herding cattle.
Absolutely.
So good. My choice for most family oriented is also for Carmela, for so kindly and faithfully heating up that cold pasta for this man that don't deserve it
Nope.
because he has been not home, out with other ladies,
Hmm.
emotionally unavailable.
Yep.
She is still there, feeding him,
And
cooking for him.
can we talk about how big that bowl of pasta was too? That thing was huge.
I know.
Just
I was so fixated on the way that he was like scooping it.
me too.
I'm like, first of all, get to the bottom. Like, what is this little like skimming the surface situation that you're doing? And also, it's his nervousness, which I think was like genius of him to do, which is this like quick spurts of like he's nervous, he's uncomfortable too, But I'm like, nothing about this was calm at
No.
all. Just this, and you could hear the sauce like oozing together as he's doing it. Great work to the sound design team,
Ugh,
to the
so
actor.
good. We
Yeah,
were immersed.
we were. James Gandolfini does a great job with those little
Mhm.
nervous ticks and physicality of that moment. Okay, next category is most explosive moment. What is your choice for this one?
I mean, I gotta give it to Salvatore for showing back up at Tony's house.
Yep.
Kind
Yep.
of sets off the entire episode.
Yeah. I love in their driveway combo, who's like, if I go in there, you promise you're not gonna kill me, right? Like
Hmm.
you promise. And you're just like out in the
And
neighborhood
Tony
just the
doesn't.
other morning. Yes, yes. My choice was also Salvatore and Tony, but it's in the basement
Nice.
where they're almost doing this like boxing match thing where they're like pacing
Yeah.
back and forth with each other and encircling each other. It's the staging of the physical space and how that was creating almost this like, I don't know, are you going to come out from behind me? And they're watching each other's hands. It felt like watching a boxing match. So I was on the edge of my seat for that one.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Third award is double meaning dialogue. What is your choice for this one?
I want to give it to Janice for saying, "Ma's not dead yet. There's no will." Like, we
All
know
you need to
exactly
know,
what you're
Anna.
saying, ma'am.
Yes. Simple, straightforward, to the point, but nothing about that is transparent. So good. I'm going to give this award to Livia, who I think receives this award a lot, honestly, from
Hmm.
me.
She does.
When she says to Meadow after giving her her grandmother's ring, "It's so you won't forget me." My gosh. The Oscar award goes to
It's
Livia.
so good. The other
Oh,
Livia
man.
moment that I loved as part of that was when Livia is just like, "Let me die." Just like, oh my gosh, you're so
The
melodramatic.
drama. She does this thing
Uh,
in her voice too.
she's so good.
Let me die. When she's hugging Meadow, I love that the show doesn't do it because it's funnier, but I was waiting for her, like her eyes are closed in the embrace, and I was waiting for one of those,
Hmm. Me too.
where they're like, and the show's like, you're smart enough. You don't need
Hmm.
that. We trust you. You know what's happening
Yeah.
here, and you're expecting this, but we trust you because we know you're not stupid. So I love that nod to us as the viewer of like, I don't need to give you that to show you that
Mm.
she's scheming. You know this character better than we do.
She
So
is
that's
always
great.
scheming up something. We just don't know what it is, but she's always scheming. That's the
Yeah.
one thing you know about Livia. And
Yes.
I eat it up. I'm here for it.
Okay, looking ahead, we have a whole season before us, a whole 12 more episodes. What are you excited to see in this season two?
Oh my gosh, so many things. So we already talked about, I feel like all of these, honestly. So I'm just
Yeah,
going to tick through them very quickly. Salvatore, still don't trust him. Nope.
shady. Nope.
Shady. So shady. I don't trust you. I'm not having any important conversations around you. Nope. Um, Obviously, everything going on with Livia, she is fascinating. I'm obsessed. Janice as a whole new variable, whole new agent of chaos. Everything going on with Christopher. I'm really nervous about his drug abuse that's going
Yeah.
on. And then, of course, as we said, Carmela. And when will she finally have her
Yeah.
chance to shine?
Hmm.
I'm here for it. So, ugh, I'm ready. I'm ready for this season. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah. I would say I'm particularly keen to see the story arc with Carmela this season. We have so much runway, and I'm curious to see what new sides of her are going to get unlocked. I just feel like this character has so much in her, and her entire life and existence has looked a certain way, and she is breaking free soon. So I'm excited to see what the show chooses to do with her, though. It seems to tease it and suggest it, but what will it do this season? I'm also curious how the show's going to handle Junior. Like, are we gonna? That was such a big plot line and big conflict point in the first season, and it rightfully so. We're gonna get new foes and new drama in the second season, but he's still there. He's still got ambition. He's like, is he gonna eventually just defect and sell his soul? Like I think there's a shorter runway that I feel for Junior, but I think what they do with his character and his ending and how they write him will be a fascinating kind of stamp in the ground for what The Sopranos believes about the people in this world. that it has created. So I'm curious what they do with Junior, but I would say, I mean, what's Olivia doing? We will never know. We'll probably get to the end of the episode, at the end of this entire show, and be like, man, she's still out there stalking the streets. But yeah, it's fascinating to see if we get more clues. I don't even expect answers. I just want more clues with her. Overall, just excited to see this new journey from the show. So much story. There's still the FBI. There's still, oh my gosh, so much. So yeah, where will the Sopranos go next? Honestly, I'm just strapped in, ready for a roller coaster ride, and excited to see where we go. We're just, oh, it's so juicy. It's so well done. I'm just excited to
Mhm.
bask in the incredible writing and the
Yes.
cinematography and all of the great filmmaking come when it's come together. It's so satisfying to see.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. We are here. We are here for it. We have begun our season 2 journey, wherever it may take us. Ugh, it's gonna be so fun.
I'm so glad we're doing the show. Like
Me
this
too.
moment was like long awaited for years, like six,
Yes,
7 years of us being like, we gotta do it. We'll find a time. And the time has come and we
we
are
have found it.
trekking through this world. Yeah, together.
Yes. So satisfying.
So good. All right, well, this was our review and discussion of season 2, episode 1. You can find it available on HBO Max. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of TV and Us. Our name sums it up. We're big fans of TV and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This podcast is about all of us and our shared stories, so everyone is welcome here, and we're so glad you are strapped in together with us on this ride through the world of The Sopranos. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you tune to your favorite shows. Drop us a rating and review, letting us know your favorite parts about how this season chooses to open. You can connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at tvnspod, or email us at tvnspod@gmail.com. Check out our website, andusmedia.co, for the latest on TV and Us and our other podcast, Movies to Us. We are also a part of the Movie Archer Podcast Network, which we're so excited about, so thrilled by, so blessed by. You can check out more at moviearcher.com to learn more about the other shows within the podcast network. We'll be back soon to discuss season 2. We're rocking and rolling. This train has left the station. We are journeying through season 2. So we hope you have an amazing week in the meantime, and we'll talk again with y'all very soon.